Turn off your phone, close the door, put on headphones, get your notebooks out. We are going to write. Welcome back to the Virtual Writing Academy! Really quickly, like 3 points. Yes, I cut my hair. It looks silly. It happened like 12 hours ago. It's gonna take a little while for it to actually start looking like real hair. Yes, we're back on the old format. There was a conflict with my recording software and the webcam, and I can't fix it as of yet. So instead, we're back on the old format for the time being. That being said, we're going to be talking about world building today. Why? Because I've been doing a ton of videos on world building. You should go check them out on the channel. They've been really fun. So I thought, you know what? There's something I want to talk about, and it's hard to talk about it without doing an exercise. So I thought, you know what? Let's change the tune today. And no tears unless you want to cry during the process of today's recording. But instead, we're going to focus on brainstorming today. With that being said, though, for those of you joining us for the first time, this is the way class is going to work. This class is not a lecture. You're not going to learn by listening to me talking and talking forever. You are going to learn by doing. So it's going to be a simple exercise session. I give you the exercise, you sit down, you write, and then once the time is up, we come back and talk about our experiences. Yes, there is a little lesson hidden behind today's exercise, but I will not tell you what it is until the end. Why? Because the best learning is done by doing. So, go grab your notebook or open up your writing software of choice. You can minimize this video if you like, I'll tell you when to bring it back up. In the meantime, let me give you my musical recommendations for the day. Oh man, I'm totally on point. It's been like 2 weeks since the last time I did the Virtual Writing Academy. And I'm so excited that I'm actually like nailing all the lines. It's funny. I guess while you're getting your stuff ready, I'm also gonna do this little speech. For anyone who's looking out to start doing like video content, this is so like, this is a total non sequitur, which means something out of context that is happening, by the way. It took me years to realize what a non sequitur was. If you're looking to start making content on YouTube or a blog or anything, it's gonna take, I'm gonna give you a little rule of thumb, okay? Which is another saying, I'm not gonna explain what it is, but the rule is this, okay? It takes doing something 10 times to get the hang of it. So don't expect your first video to be awesome or to nail everything. You know, it takes about 10 times to get anything right. So, you know, from someone who's been doing content for like over 2 years, it's kind of true. An unfortunate truth, but that's just the way things are. Talking about the way things are, this week's musical recommendations are a little strange. You see, we're going to be creating a world together. Oh man, I faded right back in. That was a smooth transition, huh? We're going to be working on creating a world today. And that means that the mood of today's writing is gonna be all over the place. I mean, if you want to make a sci-fi story, well, you need a particular type of mood for that. A fantasy sort of story, you know, a more contemporary sort of story. There's things all over the place for you. So today I'm gonna recommend my best playlist, my favorite playlist, Writing in the Dark. It is, you know, my best seller. It's the one of my playlists that has gone platinum on 8 tracks. Aside from that, though, I mean, I like the playlist because it's kind of general, you know, it's a nice relaxing playlist. I really enjoy it. I have it on my phone. I kind of enjoy listening to it from time to time. That being said, though, go over to my 8tracks page over at 8tracks.com/mkieran. Yeah, just go dig in, you know, look through them, see what you find. You know, I have made a ton of playlists, almost covering every single, like, sort of writing situation. So, you know, dig in, you know, look and see if you find something you like. Of course, as always, you can find links to the playlists in the description below and a link to my 8tracks profile. But of course, as always, you can also listen to your own music. I empower you to, you know, open up iTunes or turn on your phone and listen to your music of choice today. Earlier, oh my god. The silly train continues. Okay, that is like, that's silly enough. I think it looks just the same. Regardless of that, though, I'm gonna give you a minute to, you know, put on some music, you know, get ready, you know, get like a cup of coffee or something. In the meantime, I'm gonna be doing, I guess, news. News. I should actually turn my phone. It's like total lies, I guess, to be like, yeah, I'm totally checking my phone. Now I'm checking my phone. I open Instagram for no reason because I'm trash. Okay, so news. Okay. So I've been doing a bunch of videos on world building. You should go check those out if you're at all interested in my tips on world building. I've been tackling genres one by one. My video on fantasy, I was a little afraid of putting it up because it deals with racism in fantasy, a subject that I don't think anyone ever touches. So, you know, if you're looking for a pseudo-controversial video that looks at something from an entirely different point of view, go check that out. Aside from that, what else has been going on? Oh, I just finished The Walking Dead Season 1. I uploaded the finale like yesterday on my time frame, which is like 3 days ago on your time frame. Or if you're looking from the future, sometime in the past. You should go check it out. It was super fun because everyone was doing analysis of the story along with me in the comments. That was so much fun. Seeing everybody change their mind about certain characters as we went through the story, that was really fun. It was an incredible playthrough, and playing it with some of you was even better. So thank you for that. But yeah, go check it out. It's over now. It's 25 episodes, about like half an hour each. So, you know, the entire playthrough is over. I'm going to be uploading 400 days over the next couple of days. 400 days is nowhere near as good. So don't be looking out for 400 days to be better. It's not. It's alright. I prefer season 1 on its own, those 25 episodes. Really, really good. Especially the fact that we were analyzing the storytelling within that game. Really, really, really interesting. So, world building, The Walking Dead, and more stuff over on my channel. I think you're ready. So, without any more beating around the bush, let's dive right into today's exercise. Right into today's exercise. English. Are you ready? As always, allow me to give you the formal disclaimer and remind you that you are indeed allowed and encouraged to use your own characters and your own setting for today's exercise. Yes, you can use this exercise as a method of creating another part of your world, a new town, a new city, a new country, whatever you want it to be, it works by me. All you need to do is just stick along with the general idea. And if you need a little extra time to get writing, it's fine by me. The purpose of today is to get you writing and working. Now, let's dive right in. Today's exercise is called The Secret Ingredient. You will have 10 minutes to brainstorm a new setting. Your task is to write non-stop about this world. Make note of every detail that comes to mind and do not second-guess yourself. The catch? You will create the setting by inserting your answer to a question. Again, you will have 10 whole minutes to write about this new setting that you will create by filling in a question. Today, you are the secret ingredient. What is this question? Consider it a pseudo first sentence for today. The question goes a little like this. In this world, the people in power have blank, while everyone else doesn't. Fill in the blank and create a story only you could have made. Focus not only on the what and whens, but also on the whys and hows. How has the world ended up like this? Why is this single thing, this trait, this object separated this entire world? Why is power set on this single thing? Is this thing mundane or special? Supernatural or out of this world? What is it? And why has it split this world in two? Create a world by focusing on this struggle between those who have and those who do not. Explore both sides of the struggle and describe this world as though you're telling me. Describe to me, what is this world like? Because in this world, the people in power have blank, while everyone else doesn't. And remember, only you can make this world, writerly friend. So go bravely, recklessly into the darkness, where the impossible and the improbable become reality. 60 seconds remaining. Alright, time's up! Pencils down, fingers off the keyboard! If you minimize this video, bring it back up. Now, let's take a deep breath. I don't like to give you required reading for this class, primarily because you're all busy and you have other things that you are doing, and I'd rather focus on you writing than just, tossing you things that you should be looking at. That being said, if there's one book you're gonna read, if there's one book that I'm going to make you read, it is On Writing by Stephen King. It is the best book on the craft. Whenever I feel down about my own writing and I begin to have dark doubts or not feel overall good about my craft, I pick up that book and I read it. Or rather, I listen to the audiobook because he actually reads the audiobook, and that gives you like the extra 10% that makes the reading so much more interesting. What is good about this book? I love On Writing by Stephen King because it makes him human. It makes you realize that because the book starts with, it's half memoir, half book on writing. So you actually hear his story of how he ended up being the person that he is. And he interjects elements of the memoir into the actual rules on writing, so you actually understand what he means by the things he's telling you. And that did not only make things easier to understand, but it also made him human. I used to think that writers like him were kind of another tier, other sort of people, a new type of Pokemon that I, could not be because I was this type of Pokemon. And although that may be an incredibly silly thing to say, that's how I felt. And I realized by reading that book that Stephen King was just another normal person. Another person who had his own struggles and his own things that he had to deal with and the lessons he had to learn. And if you can overcome your own problems and learn the lessons that you need to learn, you can achieve the same things. It's as simple as that. That being said, one of my favorite things about that book is that Stephen King talks about the origin of ideas. In the book, Stephen King says that original ideas come from discovering the link between two things that seem to be entirely unrelated. Have you never had that happen to you? Like you are standing outside on the street, waiting for the bus, or just being out with your friends or something, and you see one thing, and then another thing, and then you realize, hey, what if these two things came together? That would make a story, right? That would seem interesting. And I find that is incredibly effective. That is actually why I have that as one of the steps in my guide to how to plan a novel, because I think it works wonders. And a lot of ideas can come from that. It's just simply a matter of putting one and one together and seeing what happens. But I think you discover that, right? I think that you encountered this firsthand. I gave you an idea, a struggle of power between two people by those who have something and those who haven't. And you brought something else. You brought another extra object into this, a trait, an item, an ideal, and you brought them together and created a world based on this struggle. People ask me all the time, Max, how do you come up with story ideas? How do you make story ideas and prompts for every week? I just take two things and put them together. It's really as simple as that. And the best part, though, if you want a little piece of advice for your writing, whenever you want to create something, take the two most fun things you can do in writing and put them together. That is why I have that be one of the steps in, my guide to how to plan a novel, is start with the things that seem fun and bring them together and create something that excites you to write it. Because when you are excited to create something, the act of writing is going to come so easily to you. So there you go. Not a lot of magic to it, huh? People expect a lot of, complex explanations behind the things in writing, and I find that there is usually not many things like that. Writing is not a complicated medium. It is ultimately the act of telling a story. So when you focus on it like that, go with the things that excite you, put them together and see what happens. That's how I come up with worlds and ideas, you know? And I don't always come up with them. Sometimes I stumble upon them while I'm out in the world, you know? And I see one thing and another thing and I realize, whoa, if we put these two together, you can make a story. And there's tons of quotes about writers who talk about that. You know, people like Neil Gaiman and Stephen King who say that, you know, when you're a writer, you become able to catch all of the stories because there's stories around you everywhere. But when you're a writer, you're looking for them and you start detecting them and you can make them part of your writing. Now, before I let you go, there is one thing that I want to talk about, a little something that I know a couple of you are being bothered by, and that's okay. I can imagine that a couple of you are saying, but Max, the setting that I created sounds a lot like this other setting that already exists. And I'm going to give you a little secret about originality, okay? You can pretty much consider this to be a glimpse into my rant about why cliches are a problem and should be entirely ignored. The human mind is geared to finding patterns. It is the way we do science and we spread culture. It is simply by finding patterns, categorizing patterns, and keeping things tracked. That is it. That's how we do science. So it is not unreal to imagine that you see your story and you create patterns and you compare that pattern against other patterns that you have seen. And you think to yourself, wow, the pattern that I created is much like this other pattern. I know that it can be incredibly easy to look down on your writing because you find patterns. And I understand that. What I want you to do, I want you to look past that. I want you to focus on your writing, what excites you, what interests you, and create those stories without apologies. The thing about originality is this, okay? People think that originality is creating what has never been seen before, and that's not true. Originality is creating the content that only you can make, because that cannot be copied. People can take patterns of your work, but they cannot take the one thing that you have that they don't, which is your voice and your way of telling stories. I hope that helps. By the way, you may want to hold on to this setting, unless you're too excited and you want to go ahead and write it already. That's fine by me. But we're going to be working on this setting next week and tackling one of the big bad wolves of writing, which is how do we relay the world building to the audience without overwhelming them. Until then though, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and subscribe if you want more. And as always, if you would like even more writing advice, positivity, and prompts, I've got tons of prompts you can make use of over at my blog, maxkieran.tumblr.com. Thank you for watching, thank you for spending a little bit of your day with me, and thank you for writing. Thank you for spending a little bit of your day with me and creating the art that only you could have made. Until the time we meet again, writerly friend, mwah! Okay, I know that the video's over, and I know that you probably want to go on with the rest of your day, and that's entirely fine. Let me just tell you, again, one more time, because this really means a lot to me. If you're gonna read one book that I recommend you to write, pick up On Writing by Stephen King. That book is amazing, the audiobook is even better, and if you're gonna pick up one book, pick that book up and read it. It's seriously, like, I almost keep it on, like, I mean, I wish that I could actually, like, keep it in, like, a glass case in my room, and I just break it every time that I feel down about my writing. It really, really does help. Seeing the process of one of the greatest writers of our time, you know, the person who has been titled the Master of Horror, and that's not an easy title to obtain. And this person comes off as being incredibly human, and you realize their struggle, their own battles with writing, and their own lessons. That book is, except for the part on publishing, that book is pretty much timeless. So, you know, pick it up, listen to it. The audiobook is so much better. And, you know, learn from one of the greatest writers of our time. Until then.